All right, very good. And we are back for the next presentation. So as I promised you, so we will have a very interesting talk about how open communities accelerate disaggregation and the growth of the open source hardware designs. And help me to welcome to the stage Steve Helvie. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. How are you today?
Very good.
Yes?
Yeah. Great to be here. Thank you all.
Nice to have you also here. So what are your first impressions from the summit?
First impressions, it's good to see everyone. And I think the momentum and the interest and the passion around finding out more about disaggregation. And I can't wait to see the lab. That's the next on my agenda is the tour.
Indeed. Don't forget to join
Yes.
the next tour. Okay, very good. Steve, over to you. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So my appreciation to everyone at DT and the i14 lab, Dr. Choi, Andreas, Katja, Nico, Juliana. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of people, but all the organization putting this on really appreciates the hand-holding getting us to this point. My name is Steve Helvie. I'm part of the team at the Open Compute Project Foundation. This session is about open hardware. And on this early summer day, I'm going to start off by talking about skating rinks, or at least an economist's view of what a skating rink represents and how it applies to maybe some concepts at i14. So instead of knowing and thinking about what you already know about a skating rink, the economist tells you to imagine you've never seen one or heard of one before. And so your friend comes to you with this idea and it says, look, I have this lake in front of my house. And in the wintertime, I'm going to put a rope around part of it. And I'm going to invite some people down. They're going to put on these fancy shoes, and they're going to skate around a circle, and they're going to pay me for it. I'm going to make a lot of money. And so you start to think about this, and you go, wow, just imagine if there's 100 people out here skating. It's going to be crazy. And the guy goes, I'm not going to check to see if you're certified to skate. I'm not going to check to make sure you're wearing the right brand of jacket to skate. Old people are going to skate with young, fast and slow, and they're all going to do it together. And you're thinking, if there's 100 people out here, every skater is going to have to map out their path. It's going to be chaos. There's going to be collisions. There's going to be injuries. But when you put on your skates and you go out there, you're not worried about the other 99 skaters on the ice. You're worried about those people around you and how you mesh around your local environment. And it's what the economists call a coincidence of interest. I don't want to run into you. You don't want to run into me. We're making spontaneous, quick decisions to move around. The decision-making process in that scenario is decentralized. But let's say your friend gets other advice from other people. And they go, no, no, no. What you want is you want to go out and you want to hire the best civil engineer and you want to hire the best project management team and you want to put one guy right in the middle with a bullhorn. And then that way he can tell this person, hey, you slow down, you speed up, you get over to the side, you're too old, you get off the ice. And that works if you only have 3 or 4 people on the ice. But when you get up to 100 or so, it becomes overwhelming. And the reason is, this economist explains, is because that guy in the middle, the centralized decision-making, does not know what's happening at the local level, the individual skater. Maybe this skater doesn't handle corners very well. Maybe this skater doesn't like to go very fast and loses his balance. So what happens in this scenario, in this centralized model, is in order to handle a big, complex environment, is he says, let's slow everybody down so I can control the 100 skaters out there. This ultimate concept causes people to get bored and then move and start their own skating rink where people can move spontaneously. The main concept the economist portrays around the skating rink is this idea of spontaneous order. And to me, this really exemplifies a lot around open source communities. In this case of technology, we have this spontaneous order that happens in open source communities. Even the way that innovation works, you have technology, consider these technologists over here, the vendors making technology, they're skaters. You have users, they're skaters. But in the middle, you have these OEMs, these guys that say, I'm not going to deal with everything, I'm just going to make one product and serve the broadest market. and I'm going to control everything. I'm going to control what software you use. I'm going to control what management tools you use. I'm going to control what's in that box, and that's what you get. But in an open disaggregated model, you have skaters on both sides meshing with each other, a coincidence of interest happening. I'm not bumping into you, you're not bumping into me, but we're all moving forward at a decent pace. The way this translates into open source hardware is commodity hardware, generic white box hardware from an ODM, open sourced, gives you the Open Compute Project Foundation, or OCP. And this is a group of companies that are coming together that are open sourcing their hardware designs through specifications and design files, because companies like to mitigate their risk on the supply chain. So they typically like to have just a few suppliers working off of one specification. And that's what's happening within Open Compute. You have people that are releasing basic similar specs, producing similar hardware. Right now, we're a little over 250 companies, 8,000 hardware engineers working across 30 different projects in the data center. That's telco, that's edge, it's data center, it's compute, storage, networking, even advanced cooling. As rack densities get hotter, as they get more dense, air-cooled facilities are not going to handle it anymore. So what's going to happen at the facility level? Immersion, cold plates, even the edge scenarios. Are the facilities ready to handle it? Most of the data centers in the world now are not ready to handle both a combination of air-cooled and liquid-cooled technology. So the ones that are being built now, when I speak with them, I'm saying, what are your plans to accommodate both air and liquid-cooled facilities? And these are the types of things that the Open Compute Project's working on. There are 4 key tenets that embody everything that we do around here. It's efficiency, growth, scale, and openness. So when a member approaches us with a potential contribution, much the same way that DT has in the past, and Nokia, is they have to meet certain requirements within that project around these 4 metrics, and then they're submitted within the foundation. How are we supporting the i14 lab? And this is where it gets really exciting, is we have members within the community that are driving open source hardware that are providing it here in the lab. You can certainly see the Nokia OpenEdge server in their booth and their demo unit over here. And then we have something based off of a very similar spec, pretty much the same spec from a different supplier, WeWin. And I want to introduce William, from WeWin. WeWin is one of our top contributing members with Open Compute, been a fantastic member in contributing both compute, storage, and a long time member within Open Compute. Eufy Space and EdgeCore driving the networking devices. Everything from core aggregation routers, disaggregated cell sites, all open source specs. So you can go onto our site, you can download the specs, you can see what's underneath the hood of that box. So I thought it'd be better to not necessarily hear from me, but to hear from one of our members that's really driving the open networking conversation around the region. And that is from Lukas Lukowski, who's from Stortus. With his many titles, he's also the European Community Lead, Volunteer Lead for OCP. And Stortus is well represented here in Germany, and Valdemar over here is the CEO of Stortus. So it's really great to have all the OCP community members here as well. So Lukas, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone.
Great. And I thought it'd be good for you to kind of, since you're out there every day speaking with companies about disaggregation, what is the state of disaggregation in the market as you see it?
So, maybe short story about myself. So I had a pleasure to be on the both sides. First of all, today we are locally. The company Stortus, the headquarters is just in Stuttgart. We have also offices in Poland and in UK. But I had a pleasure to also working on the other side of that disaggregation, more sticky to the hardware. So had a pleasure to be more than 6 years working at the EdgeCore networks. So with those all connections to that ODM, taking a look on those old skiers, now we are, let's say, trying to help aggregate that disaggregation and add all the missing gaps which we saw, those all challenges which our customers been facing. Yeah. So if you are asking what is happening, I would say a lot. There is a huge hardware revolution. I remember when we've been starting with the first designs, like SESA gateways. Today, disaggregation on the telco space is on the SESA gateways. We can find a disaggregated aggregator routers and the core routers. It's unbelievable. Speed is going outstanding, yeah? We have Ramon with 400G and the new Ramon second with the 800G just on the corner, yeah? I remember when we've been working on transport, maybe some of you are familiar with the coherent technology and what we did also with Facebook support. So they have like a design called Voyager. We've been working on the Cassini. So coherent technology combined with the switches. Today, OpenZR Plus is just built in even into the SESA gateway. So yes, a lot is happening.
So what about the supply chain that is impacting everyone? How is that impacting people wanting to do disaggregation compared to, say, other vendors maybe having locked up certain supply chains?
Very good question. So first of all, when you are working with those mentioned guys like an EdgeCore, UFISP, you are working with the real hardware manufacturer. So, you know, the supply chain is relatively short. Simply, of course, there are key components providers like a Broadcom, Intel, but then those guys, when they are saying that they are designing and manufacturing, they are really doing that. They are designing and manufacturing that hardware. So, of course, there are some challenges in the supply chain worldwide, but I can tell you that based on our needs, all the projects which we are running locally here in Europe, also in the Middle East, it's still doable to manage. How we are managing that? Primarily, basically, we are working very tight with our partners, very tight with the manufacturers, like mentioned at EdgeCore UFI, and simply we are forecasting even today to secure our needs for the Q1, Q2, even next year. And okay, we had some slowdown on the beginning, but I would say that basically it's everything under control. So even such as really high, hard to get design like a Tofino 2, fully 400G. If someone would like to put their hands on the P4, play on the latest Tofino 2, we have like 50 units on the way for the worldwide try. So it's doable.
So there's supply out there. One other question is when I speak with companies, a lot of them say, look, I only have a certain number of people, and they're already trained on traditional OEM style hardware. How would you encourage people to either train their team or to move over this with a limited team?
That is, let's say, a challenge which we have basically every day. So we've been trying to go in front of those challenges. We've been designing some kind of like a started packages where, for example, you are new into disaggregation. You don't know exactly what is ONI, Open Network Installer. You would like to just put the hands on. Our team is here to help you. Yeah? So we have a special, let's say, training packages and even more. Going to the education, and that was already discussed a few times today, we even created another company called Route to Open when we are providing courses. So what is open networking, what is disaggregation, the difference between bare metal, white box, bright box, and so on, but then also going to, I don't know, any specific software. There is a lot on the market with the Sonic. Sonic maybe is not ready today for the telco, not yet, but courses, education, okay, you can learn something from the GitHub, but it's not enough. So we are also here to support that kind of the challenges.
So training piece, helping people move over. As people start to move over, are the benefits that you're seeing from customers really around CapEx and OpEx? And is that the primary reason people are moving, or is it this agile flexibility piece? And if you are seeing OpEx and CapEx savings, what are some of the numbers?
So, you know, disaggregation is not only about the savings, yeah? It is about that freedom. I know that it sounds a little bit marketing-like, yeah? But yes, obviously, you will see those savings on the hardware, on your operation. But first of all, this is a freedom, yeah? I will give you an example with even Cumulus Network. Maybe someone is still remember, they've been acquired lately by Mellanox, NVIDIA. Someone was going there, maybe is right now a little bit disappointed by the company strategy, but this is not end of the world. You have a hardware based on the ONI. You can change the software. It's always a challenge, but it's doable. So this is a really freedom. A lot of people are also a little bit afraid of the network and disaggregation because of that enterprise, let's say, grade services, SLA, yeah? So unfortunately, those mentioned vendors not always are capable to provide you, I don't know, next business day hardware replacement and so on. So again, we are here, we are locally, we can do that for you. Even in Germany, for more project-based, we are providing like a 4-hour reaction time, 24/7. So there is always a field.
Training's covered. Last question. How do you envision the importance of open communities in the acceleration of your specific business compared to just going out and doing it alone?
Come on, we are all together, yeah? This is a community, this is an open community, and not only what we are doing together under the OCP, but what we all are doing under the OCP, ONFT, it's just unbelievable. This is the, let's say, only way. And come on, when I am right now here, after almost 2 years break, but by the way, I had a challenge, I had a pleasure to be in Dresden on the 5G event last month, so that was also great, first time. I see all the same faces. We are here all together. The world is small. Whatever, if you base as myself in Poland, or William, partly Taiwan, partly Netherlands. Come on, that is driving the changes.
It's great. Thank you, Lucas. I appreciate you sharing your insight. So I think the overarching point is within open communities, specifically OCP, you have this spontaneous order that's happening. And we have open source hardware that we're supporting the lab. And I encourage you to take a look at some of this commodity style open source hardware, either through William or on the networking side through Lucas, and ask them what makes it different than a traditional OEM style box. And with that, I'm going to be able to finish a bit early and hopefully get us back on track just a little bit. So thank you all very much for the time.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. It was really a very interesting, enthusiastic presentation. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Thank you all.
Very good.